Okay. Sorry? All right. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. For this session, Mr. Andy Lai Boon Ho will be giving a talk titled The Digital Transformation of DST. Mr. Andy is a seasoned IT practitioner with more than 10 years hand-on experiences. He has manifested strong attributes to innovate, transform and deliver innovative and technically challenging services in both telecommunication and financial industries. Thus, he has been being appointed the lead for national projects such as Retail Payment Hub and BDCB Fintech Sandbox during his banking career. In his telco career, he has led the transformation project from MNO to MVNO and led the digital transformation for DST. He is also appointed as the president of Fintech Association of Brunei, representing DST recently to set up the association. He strongly believes, such as national digital, will be the foundation that drive the Wawasan 2025 agenda. Okay. In this talk, Mr. Andy will be speaking about how to transform DST by using technology. And before we start, Mr. Andy will also be answering questions towards the end of his talk. So if you have any questions, do feel free to type your questions in the chat box for online attendees, and for physical attendees, you can also ask your questions by the end of the presentation. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Andy Lai Boon Ho.
Okay. Hello. Okay, I will just do a quick introduction of myself in the next slides. Basically, today I would like to talk about the digital transformation of DST in terms of IT landscape, not its the corporate landscape. What did we do right and what did we do wrong, right? How is the thought process to change ourselves? So first, I think it's important to talk about my background. I'm actually a pure banker before I moved to telco. I'm actually 12 years in banking from various positions, data, infrastructure, businesses, retail, digital banking. One of my product was actually B Digital, right? So then I moved into DST on 2019. So you would have guessed what happened in 2019. So there is a once in a lifetime transformation happened to all the sales scope, right? So that's when DST decided you need a banker to transform the retail business because of the service line, right? So what happened? The usual story that we have been talking about for the past 3 years. It's been a very big impact to us. So basically, we lost our only asset, the towers, and our shareholder, which is Darussalam Assets, have created a company called UNN. We have handed over all our 4G, 3G towers, everything, including Telbu have handed over their fiber network. So we have successfully transformed into a sales co. If you remember, 2019, DST basically don't have a working portals, don't have an app. Anyone remember that? So that's a risk for us, right? What is the fastest way to bring this digital channel up? I think competitors like Imagine and Progressive already have their app by then, right? So my role is to transform in a short period of time to enable the digital channel for customer to onboard and for customer to self-service, right? So we are left with this function from the whole 1,000 plus staff to 150 staff, right? We only run now marketing, product, sales and distribution, customer experience and operation. Nothing more than this. And all we care about now is the customer experience and the customer complaints, not the network, not anything to do with 4G, 3G down, right? So in short, if we compare positively with these people, we are Airbnb with our properties, we are Grab with our taxi, we are Tokopedia without any books, we are Netflix without any CDs. That's the best way to describe DST now. We only have our own digital assets, our app, our channel, our order portals, and our website. Other than that, you can't even spot a single service in DST now, because we are the first telco in the world to migrate fully on AWS cloud. Yes, so we have a video done by AWS, a success use case of Brunei, right? So, well, back to the story. What will happen after those happen? We lost our assets. Oh well, we go back to 0 to 1 innovation journey compared to 1 to n. Anyone know what is this? When you start to create something, before you create a view, right? We call that the 0 to 1 innovation. 0 to 1 is the toughest innovation. Once you create, let's say you want to create a car, it's easy, right? Because 1 to n is you can reuse the view of what have been created, what is innovated, right? What is not being innovated is 0 to 1. So to DST, we are like, we don't have anything. So it's 0 to 1, right? 2019, we don't have anything, right? So we will need to decide if we move the company from a net core to sales core, what is important, economy of scale or economy of speed? How do we identify in more technical terms is automation or innovation, right? Automation is how our consideration is when we from 1,000 people, we drop to 150 people, do we need all the automation? Yes, we do, because there's like 10 times the work we need to take care of now, right? But do we need innovation? Yes, we do, because we don't have anything to touch the customer. So as a VP, we decided, as a management, we decided, man, I think we will sacrifice ourselves. We'll need the innovation because customer pay us, right? So we decided, let's go for economy for speed. That's why we developed an app in 3 months and everything, right? When we make the decision, because most of our thinking are still not very digital last time, right? So we use a lot of ways to tell the management or even the people, we are this one, we are a ship, right? Either you death by efficiency is slow and painful, or you deliver the container with new method by drone, modularize everything, right? The first thing we decided to do is to change our IT ways of doing things, right? So what come to my mind that time? I was only one person when we start 2019. One person as a digital, okay? So I said, okay, oh well, we did this in banks, we can do it in telco again. I underestimated the engineering part of telco because banks doesn't have engineering parts. We don't have network. We have application. We are good with application, right? So I assess the situation and think these two things is the most important patch we need to do immediately in 2019, right? So I come to the CEO and proposed. We have a very old infrastructure as in the infrastructure that hosts the application. We have a core system that is running on 80 gig of hard disk, housing 400,000 people data. We can't manage that. We cannot upgrade that. There was an incident that during 2020 May, the whole Brunei was down for 1 hour. If you still remember, no one can make calls. It's because our 80 gig hard drive was full. Right? So I said, okay, let's not have those headaches. We have these three big boys out there, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and AWS. And my skill are actually software application. So let's use cloud to run our infrastructure, right? The other thing is in my mind is the software design. Our software are all monolith. That time we have 36 massive application running, intertwined like as equity code. One down, everything down, right? So let's first talk about infrastructure. Let's get that out of the way. We work with AWS. We basically move to them, outsource our network operation center. They manage the whole network. All we need to do is the console. Go to the console, activate any function we need, and that's all. So we now, last time we had 30 staff running NOC, now we're down to 5. So this is the first thing we patch. Last 2 weeks, the very good example is, last 2 weeks, our app was down, right? Because we launched my DST shop, then there is 2 million API call per 5 days, which is our 1 month scale. So what we did is we go online, my staff say, Andy, I actually missed the time when I still can see the cable and patch the cable. Now we don't know what to do. We just go to the console. We don't know what is the console. But all we did is just scale up, then everything start to work fine, right? So bear with us because my time, I'm still very close to the server. We go to change the server and everything, right? So that is one way we have moved, right? The difficult way now is DST have these 3 years, we have hired over 20 plus developer, local in-house developer. We have deployed our first prepared CRM, fully built by Bruneian graduates, fresh grade 3 years ago, and we deploy our first billing. We are still building our first billing, and the app, my DST app you use, are all in-house built. When you start to build, each developer are very smart. When you have too many smart people, there is a problem. The design practice of the build, monolith build, right? This one developer said, Andy, I'm using microservice. When we check the code, oh no, you are using monolith. What is the problem? When you decide to go cloud, your build of monolith will be a problem because monolith cannot allow you to vertical scale or horizontal scale, right? So then we change our app to microservice build. Okay, what is the difference? I will use again the example of 2 weeks ago. Our app was down, right? But people still can log in the app because it's one component of microservice down. Is our Infinity was down, right? But if people log in our app, you still can see the mobile, the shop is alive. Why? It's because the microservice is independent of each other. Our design was independently communicating with each other by using message queue, right? So that's the important that we demonstrate as a corporate to serve our customer, right? The scaling of microservice and using API. So our development team are actually split to front-end team, API team, and engine build team, right? So how to achieve it? Thank you. This one is important. All the above are just talk without a framework. I just like telling you how good DST is, but to implement the real action is very painful. And it took us 3 years, right? When I first joined DST, when I was one person, I noticed we are using waterfall model to implement any project. Every time when I almost complete the project, our business will say, Andy, I want to change because it's outdated already. So as you familiar with waterfall model, you can't change. You have to implement and start a project again, right? So then we decided, okay, let's transform with local development. We say we cannot use waterfall model because it's local development. Our people are afraid to build big system. What we did is so this one, everyone. So we decided to follow the Agile Manifesto, right? When we follow Agile Manifesto, the developer feel like they can control the sprint, the task in hand, right? And every build we discuss with the user closely to ensure we are still up to date on each features we deploy, right? So of course, to follow this is also not easy. It took us 3 years. What we set up is, we just set up 3 teams that is talking to each other. The first one we set up is, product owner. Okay. Initially, we jumped straight to the Scrum Master with our product owner. We encountered a big issues. The program that is developed was not in line with what business want. This is very important because business language, when you translate to programming language, is totally different animals, right? So what we did is we introduced a product owner based on the Scrum framework just to scope down all the requirement of the users and translate into epic, we call it, features built. Then epic will then pass to Scrum Master. Scrum Master will then work with developer to convert it into a task, a sprint, we call it, right? Then with this Scrum Master, then communicate with developer lead. The developer leads will then calculate the velocity of development. What do you mean by that? Is because we also noticed that every sprint development, every developer have different skill sets. So we use a star point. Each star point is half a day, right? Then we will calculate how many points each developer can achieve in one sprint. Then we'll calculate the velocity of the developers. Then we can accurately deliver the development in time. So after we implemented this framework, so far we have been delivering, I think, 1,000 plus code load to GitHub every year, I think. So our MyDST app is one of the very good example. When we deploy, right? If you notice, your app is constantly upgrading. If you found an issue, you post it to 151, our friend here. Then we will then report it to us, development team. Then development team will start to build the build and release. right? So I think this one is come to an end. What is the key takeaway of this transformation? It only falls into 3 parts in DST. This transformation, okay, the transformation only falls in these 3 things. The people, the mindset of people must adapt to your new way of changes, right? If the people don't adapt, then you will have hard time. Then it go to process. You must make sure the people follow a process after every new build or new sprint. We must be disciplined. And technology is the easiest because technology is only a tool to help you. But if no one is using the technology, your tools is as good as not useful in this case, right? So that's all about my presentation. So we should open for Q&A.
All right, if anyone has any questions, please feel free.
No?
No one has any questions?
By the way, the whatever you use, whatever customer touch point is all in-house built and it's all by student, fresh grad from uni 3 years ago, UTB. So it's been DST have successfully set up of 50 people running all this build. We no longer depend on vendor base. That's what the message is. Okay.
Sorry, I have a question just out of curiosity. So you were saying that all are like local made, right? So all these students are gathered together as a like new development team.
Okay. What we did is initially we hired the students by contract. So we are thinking because one thing is this is the first time we do it in Brunei corporates. We never run a project without any vendors, right? So the board said, why not test for 1 year? Although I know you are confident, Andy, but let's test it out. So this, we set up a team of 10 people, student, fresh grade, we get from UTB, we interview. Then these 10 people are now permanent staff that run the system. We are building front end and we move to build engine. I think our first engine deployment was our prepared CRM that has been successfully built. Yeah.
So they were given the same training during the time, during the first year. Do they have like training in terms of project management as well?
Yes, we have the most training. The digital team have the most training. We even work with AWS to train the infrastructure setup. The Scrum Master, we work with company like one of our partners, Multisys, were the one who also train us in development. We use pair programming, so development continuously 2 pair together, learn from each other, then they can deploy the code. Right. So the only thing now we feel is missing is our DevOps deployment. So that's the next thing we are going to do.
Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question. What was the most challenging part during the process of the transformation?
The mindset.
And how did you overcome the challenges?
This is interesting. I have to ban few words in the meetings, right? So when the first year, when people join the meetings, they always ask me, can we do it? Okay, that's a taboo word. We ban in all our meetings. No one can ask that question. People can only ask, how can we achieve it, right? So after we change this, slowly the mindset of the staff actually realize they actually can do. So they come up with solution rather than doubt, right? So now all my team is everyone come into the meetings with at least 1 to 2 solution. Then we'll discuss over the solution. Don't override the solution. Just make sure it's the right solution, then we'll implement. So I let my staff control the solution, even my DST app. Sometimes if a mistake is not too big, you can allow them to test it out, right? So because if you kill the morale, that will be the next thing that you kill off. Yeah. So yeah.
There's a question in the chat box. With regards to the key takeaway on mindset, how do you identify and nurture talent within your organization and regardless of background or experience? And how has your digital transformation impacted your business relationship with customers?
Okay, I'll answer the first one first. I think I'm a computer science graduate. I can smell the talent from far. Okay, I interviewed one of the talent. He was sitting in the interview, not talking. I asked, he said yes. All my panel felt him. I said, this is the guy I'm looking for. All my panel was like, what? You serious? But then he actually single-handedly developed the app, because programmers are weird. Again, I'm a weird person before, right? It's just that my role have changed me a bit, right? So that one, I think we have a test. The programmer will need to go through a series of tests. Then it will go into an interview. And my interview are not senior interview. The programmer will interview the programmer. Okay, my team will interview the programmer. Okay, anyone who is technical and programming will interview the programmer. So that is how we find talents. And that programmer will be responsible to lead the other programmer. He's familiarized with the standard ways of coding, right? Okay, this is very interesting. My boss always asks me, how has your digital transformation impact the DST relationship with your customers, right? When we first launched the app, so massive complaint of the app, right? We just pick up every single thing and enhance it. That is how we maintain the relationship with the customer. Until today, our app is so different. It's because we have 1,000 plus changes in a year. Means that average 3 changes per day in the app. So it's all tracked in GitHub and submitted for Global Innovation Index, right? So that's how we touch our customer. The order portal, every time we change, we must make sure let's fill in our forms, provision the service, give the card to you. When you buy easy, we must send to you without even going through physical touch. Yeah, so that's how it impacts our customers.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions? No? Okay. So,
Last question.
sorry. So last question. Yeah. How do you see DST's digital transformation playing a role in shaping the future of the industry?
Interesting question. There is many projects that I cannot share now, but our aim is always to help Brunei, Wawasan 2035. So we want to create, one of the things that we want to do is we want to create the role of development in Brunei. Myself, when I first come back from computer science graduate, I cannot find a work. But now my staff that joined me say they finally found a developer work in DST, right? So our thinking is like this. When we created the skills, people can go out and find another work. So that is also an effect for the country. And of course, we are in close talking with government. We are trying to help to improve the government as well by sharing the experience and training the people for digital transformation. So we have closely presenting to the government how we do it. We share all our infrastructure design as well. So that's anything.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, any more questions? No? No. Okay, we're concluded.
Okay.
All right, so with that, we would like to conclude this session, and I'd like to thank Mr. Andy for the talk today, and we'd like to thank the attendees as well. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.